everyone, today I'd like to talk about anger and how we can deal with anger in a healthy way, and also in terms of the big overall topic that is self-love, because these situations always offer us a great opportunity for us to demonstrate to our soul how big our degree of self-love is. So it's basically, it can be regarded as a sort of training that is staged by our soul and that has a deeper and healing goal in the end. And what I often encounter is people telling me that in the moment itself, when they're triggered, when they're really, really, really angry, they can't react. They sort of freeze and they can't react immediately. They can't express their anger and they can't really tell the person that is making them angry what they're actually feeling, and they can't really stand up for themselves in that moment. And what happens is they get really angry at themselves, really mad at themselves, and I think that's not very helpful. I think this is something we should drop, this sort of behavior. It's not very positive, it's quite destructive, and what we should adapt instead of that is, first of all, understanding and having patience with ourselves. It's not uncommon, it's quite normal that we freeze, that we can't react immediately, and that we can't address the situation because we are emotional. And another option is that if we're emotional, we vent our anger in that same situation. It sometimes is just over the top, it's too much, it's not really right. Sometimes it's just too emotional. Sometimes we say things that we might regret afterwards or that we need to apologize for. So in order to just skip that whole chapter of having to apologize and feeling maybe bad about what we did or making a big racket, it's not so bad to address it at a later point. So if you feel like you're freezing, this person is making you angry, walk away. Really walk away, withdraw from the situation itself, and try to express and vent your anger in healthier ways. What you can do is, what I always like to suggest, is working with light, because anger itself is a very strong energy as well. It's like really dense energy that, if it stays in our cells, in our heart and in our aura, it will get more and more dense, and eventually, if we don't do anything about it, it might even create a physical problem, which we of course don't want to happen. So what we should do is to walk away from that situation and ask, for example, Archangel Raphael or some other angels or your soul. I always like to work with Raphael, who is the healer, to open the heart. Let the emotion emerge, let it emerge. Don't try to suppress it, don't push it back, and don't try and waste so much time thinking about that initial situation that triggered your anger. The person, whoever. You know, it's stage. It's something you should always keep in mind. It is stage. All of us have a sort of potential of anger that is saved in the heart and in the soul. Most of it is coming from past lives, yes, folks, past lives again, but I can't stress it often enough. Past lives and their effects and their energetic and emotional traces have a tremendous effect on our life today. So the soul will always want to get rid of that and free itself from those old karmic burdens. So anger obviously is one of the biggest obstacles in our way. It needs to go. And if it's not karmic, then it is from situations in our life today, maybe from something that happened to us yesterday, a few years ago, or whenever, but that wasn't processed fully. Anger that is still inside of us. So whenever there's anger saved deep inside of us, be it karmic in origin or something from our life today, we should trust that our soul knows why, because we've not processed it fully and probably pushed it back again and swallowed the anger down. So the soul will need to find a way to let it emerge, and for us to find also a way to vent it. We should try and vent our anger healthily and address it first, and we should know that whatever is happening to us, and even if that means that we're being triggered regularly, that we're feeling upset on a regular basis, that is happening all under the guidance of the soul. And the soul knows, okay, we have so much anger inside of us, and this is why we need to be triggered. It needs to come out. Otherwise, it just stays inside. And the soul loves to be free, it wants to be free from those old emotional and energetic traces. So what it does is that it triggers us, we feel the anger, and then it's our turn to address it healthily. So what you can do is ask the angels to open your heart, pull out the energy of the anger, pull it out, and first of all feel it, let it emerge fully. Don't try and suppress it, don't push it back. Ask them to pull it out of your heart, send in light, and do that. Keep doing that until the emotion is discharged and you're feeling more balanced again and more centered, until the even the physical pressure on the heart has lessened and you feel you're centered again. You can find other ways to vent your anger. If you're at home, go and punch a pillow, go out into nature, make a racket, scream, whatever it is that needs to come out, but let it out. You need to find a way to let it out and not try and project it onto that person or on that initial situation. That is often destructive, and that's not the point. They're basically just actors in your play, and you are the leading role, and it's all about you, and it's about getting out the old emotions. So don't try and think too much about them. And then when you're feeling centered again, more neutral, and then the emotion is discharged, then create a moment, address that person that you feel has upset you, and you feel there was something that wasn't right. Go and address it later, at that point when you're neutral, when you're more assertive. And that's something I think we should keep in mind. Even if we don't react immediately, it doesn't mean that we have to deal with the anger and be upset for the next weeks. No, we can vent the anger in a healthy way, be neutral again, centered again, and then go up to that person and tell them what it is that you want them to know, and speak up for yourself. But when you're doing it in a neutral way, when you're feeling the emotions discharged, so when you're doing it in that way, the effect of what you're saying is much more serious and will linger much more with that person. So you're being much more assertive, coming from that sort of emotional, neutral stage, so to speak. So try and look at it in that way. Try and be pragmatic about it and healthy about it, instead of wasting time and energy punishing yourself, being mad at yourself. Just give yourself some time to vent your anger in a different way. Let it out first, and you know it's happening for a deeper reason, and that has nothing to do with that person, except maybe for karmic ties. But in general, it's about you releasing old emotions, and your soul has sort of forced you into that situation. So try and work with your soul. Try and work with it and know that this is happening for that reason, and then address it later. Find the opportunity, make the time, and go up to that person, stand up for yourself, and speak from that position, and you will feel much better about it, and the effect is much more like you would envision it. So I wish you a lot of self-acceptance in that matter, and confidence, applying the delayed anger management technique, so to speak. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye.